educator friends, and I hope this episode finds you having a great week. How are you making learning fun for your kids this week? That's my question. That's my challenge. Last week, share a little bit. I got to volunteer at our local high school here and play a role in their challenge day. What an awesome experience. So if you've never heard of a challenge day, I encourage you to look it up. It was just an entire day filled with raw emotions and kindness and compassion. I really just I saw lives transform that day. And I saw an entire grade level that participated change for the better, which was awesome to be a part of. So last week, actually 2 weeks ago, we have busy lives. We took a week off. So on our last episode, we had Liz Sherman on, and she was awesome. I really appreciated her insight, her expertise on special education. And Liz also gave some pretty good impromptu parenting tips, which I personally appreciated. So if you haven't listened to episode 5, definitely go back and check it out. And speaking of a great parent, right here we have the incredibly awesome mom who just so happens to be an awesome school leader as well. Dr. Ryan Daniel is an elementary principal from Maryland, where she leads with compassion, passion, and absolute fire. So she's the president of the Maryland Elementary Principals Association, senior fellow for NAESP, and she just so happens to have Secretary Cardona stopping by her school to see the great things happening in her school as well. So let's get to it, Ryan. Thank you for giving us some time today. I know how important time is for you, and I really appreciate you taking that time today.
Thank
So
you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
yeah, absolutely. So I already shared a little bit about you and just how much of a big deal you are. But tell us a little bit more about you and who you are as a person. Your mom life, your cheer coach, all those things.
Well, hello everyone. I think the best way to describe me, at least according to my friends and family, I'm just like a ball of energy, a ball of positivity. You kind of know when I'm not feeling it because if my mood is a little low, then it's like, okay, what's wrong with Ryan? But I am super excited. I am a girl mom. I lead with that first because I absolutely love being a mom and then the opportunity to have two girls at that. I did not have any sisters. So to have two daughters and to watch that sister bond and rival happen in my house. So my house is nothing but glitter and tutus and
They
makeup.
are your minis. Every time you put
Oh,
a picture up, I'm like,
they are, and I'm
oh,
learning. Yes, I'm learning as they get older
yeah.
that they have my personality just at different stages and ages
Okay.
of my life. And it's a little scary sometimes because my almost 4-year-old sometimes acts like how I was in maybe like my 20s. So I'm like, I'm
What's
just,
20 gonna be like? Right?
what is it gonna be like? But I am entering in my 8th year as a principal. I'm actually at my second principalship, so I've had the opportunity to lead two schools in the same school district that I am actually a product of. Kind of raised in my school district, Prince George County Public Schools. We're the second largest school district in the state of Maryland. I'm a product of Prince George County, and it was really important for me to come back and become an educator, and then now a school leader. I am also a coach, so there are children all around me at all the times of the day. I'm a competitive cheerleading coach where I coach young ladies between the age, huge range, but the age of 5 and 12. So really excited to take my love and passion for cheerleading. I was a college cheerleader, a competitive cheerleader. Even did some kind of semi-pro cheer. And
Cool.
then being able to be a cheer mom, but then also still coach and give back is really exciting. It's my other passion
Yeah.
besides or next to, I guess, education.
Awesome. I learned some stuff there I didn't know about you. So, I love that you have that. And I don't, for me, it was basketball. I was a basketball official and got out of it for a little bit. And this year I'm excited. I'm kind of starting to dab back into it. But for me, that was like an out. You pour so much into your school, and sometimes it was just nice to get away. For you, you go to the gym, and for me, it was the basketball court, and just get away and turn your brain off of school
And I,
mode.
and I love it. I love it because when I go to the gym, I'm not the boss there. I'm not in charge.
Yeah,
I'm just a coach, and so I get an opportunity to kind of take the leader hat off. Although we use leadership skills everywhere, but like I really get an opportunity to just like
yeah,
have fun and be with my friends and
yeah. And
watch athletes grow.
I've talked to a lot of people about that, but like I don't think you people truly understand until you are a principal, like just how many decisions you make on a daily basis. I mean,
Yes,
and everybody's looking to you and they want an answer
they want to
right
answer.
now,
They want to
right?
answer right now. They want to answer right now,
And it's
and
okay to not give them an answer, and it's okay to say I have a minute, but you then
exactly.
even after you say that, you're still thinking about it, right? And
Hmm.
it's still processing through your head. And so, yeah, I know I would come home a lot of days and just my brain would be fried.
Hmm.
And I'd just, take a step back and think about how many decisions I made in that day.
Yeah.
And it's probably unhealthy,
Yeah,
really.
and that's why, and like for me, my daughters, they attend my school, and I'm a single mom, and so when they're like, okay, well, what's for dinner? I'm like, can like you all just throw an idea out there, and mommy will
Yeah.
go get it because, or I will make it, but I can't make any decisions.
I am not cooking.
Whatever
Yeah.
you all want tonight, we're just gonna go with that because the amount of decisions and just that we make on a daily basis from the time you wake up in the morning to the time the close of business for the
Yeah.
day, and sometimes beyond that. It's just it's so much.
It is. It's a lot. You do it well. You're a great mom, and I love how you embrace that chaos with your
Uh,
girls, and
yes, we're
you
the
go with
chaos
it.
coordinators.
Yeah,
Moms are chaos coordinators.
I think I still have
And
my.
as a principal and as a mom, like there's a lot of skills that I see kind of overlapping one another. So like I love the hashtag mom as principals
Yeah,
because you know um it is this idea that as like a female and then like a female in leadership, like you can't have both. And I really enjoy kind of sharing the behind the scenes of what life is like as a mom and as a principal, because I think oftentimes society makes women feel like you can't be good at both. Like
yeah,
if home is doing great, then work is like bottom of the barrel, or if you're doing well at work, then you're forgetting things
yep.
at home. And so yes, it's a struggle, but I really enjoy trying to find a balance between the
I was
two.
gonna that was the word you and I have had that conversation
Hmm.
before with that word, just balance.
Yeah.
In some weeks it's not
Hmm.
there, and other
Hmm.
weeks you feel like you got it, and there's always ways to improve, but it's all about balance. So our friend Jessica Cabine even wrote a
Yeah.
book about that, right? And she's awesome. So that kind of leads us into this next question. I get this question a lot, and you probably do too, from teachers that are aspiring to be leaders and administrators one day. Um, and that question is, how did you get into administration, and what advice do you have for aspiring administrators? Because I think you and I are both, obviously, you were younger principals when we started, and both of us had success in that role early in our careers, which is a good thing. But what advice do you have for those teachers that are like, I want to get into it so bad?
Yeah. I think I ended up in the principal's office early, but I think I ended up in the principal's office because my first year as a teacher, I craved wanting to learn more and how to impact the entire school. And, I had great impact on my own classroom, but then I started getting leadership opportunities, and I was able to see like my impact on a larger
Mhm.
body of students and being able to impact some of my colleagues. And I wanted to become a principal because I really wanted to make sure that every student had the most innovative, creative, and equitable learning opportunities. And I knew that like I had to be in the main office. I had to
Yeah.
be leading the school in order for that to happen at a larger scale. And so I I don't think I initially seeked the principalship. I actually remember when I was an assistant principal, um, the job came out, or the posting, I was like, oh, just let me just apply just to see what
Yeah.
happens. And then I moved to the next round, and the next round. I think about the third round, I say, okay, maybe I should pay attention a little bit more,
Maybe I should try here.
and
Yeah.
do a little bit more in this. But I
Mhm.
think the first advice that I would give to those aspiring leaders is to shadow
Mhm.
other leaders, be a sponge. I think what I did is that I watched and listened and absorbed so much from so many different current leaders. I learned what kind of leader I wanted to be and what kind of leader I did not want to be. I asked questions like, why did you make that decision? Like, not challenging, but in the sense of like, I really want to know, like, what was the thought process behind moving this teacher to that grade,
Yeah.
that for the next year, or why you waited until 24 hours to respond to a parent's email, because those are type of the things that sometimes can seem like a fire, but it's the thought process behind it,
Yes.
of how we like attack it and address it, and then we become very proactive instead of reactive. So I think I would definitely have aspiring leaders to understand, like, you have to like watch and listen and learn in order to lead. You can't just come out the gate thinking that you're going to fix the things, you're going to
Yeah.
change it, and just because you were a great teacher doesn't always mean you're going to be a great leader.
Mhm.
You have to. I'm still learning how to be a great principal myself. Like the principal that I am now, there's some similarities, but I'm smarter now than I was my first year as a
Right.
principal, even my first school. I had an opportunity to do a reboot and
Yep.
be a first year principal like
Yeah.
again. So I
New
think that
setting.
is, yeah, aspiring school leaders really need to kind of listen,
Yeah.
um, emulate some of the leaders that they watch, they love, that they've
Sure.
experienced, and then also find out what they don't want to be.
Yeah, you learn just like, you can many teachers became teachers because of maybe they had that bad experience as a
Yeah.
kid. Like, I don't want to be that teacher. And it's gonna be the
Hmm.
same way as teachers aspiring to be leaders. And I love that what you said. That was great stuff. And I always say that too, like, don't pursue the position, pursue the impact. And you mentioned,
Absolutely.
I see a lot of really like hungry young teachers that just want the position, right? They maybe
Hmm.
even want the power.
Yeah.
And you're never going to end up in the right position or end up in there for the right reasons if you're
Yep.
not pursuing the impact that
Exactly, because I get people, I tell people all the time, position doesn't equal power, right? Influence equals power. Like, just because I'm the principal does not mean that people are going to do what I say to
yeah,
do. Like, it's the influence, it's the impact, like you stated. Like, just because the position doesn't equal power,
right,
it's just a title.
yeah,
Right? We see the police, and we know that the police are going to be in the their little huddles and their spaces and hideaways, but you're still going to speed because you're trying to get somewhere, right?
right,
You know that they're
yeah.
positioned and they have that power,
You're
but
still
you
gonna
still
test it,
have
right?
somewhere to go.
Oh, I get that. I like that. So you mentioned a little bit of this, but my next question is, what kind of leader are you, and what does your daily schedule or routine, average day look like?
Whew. Well, I think the kind of leader I am is one that is very out of the box. I say all the time, I color outside of the lines. Like, I stay on
Mhm.
the page most of the times, but I definitely color outside of the line. I'm a I'm really big on relationships. I do believe that, like, you have to enjoy where you work at. So I try my best to make sure that people feel and experience our culture. Like, you see the climate, but I want you to feel like
Yes.
what our culture is. I am not a micromanager, very supportive. I truly believe everyone that is affected by the work must affect the work. So if there's a class that needs to be covered, if there is, a lesson that needs to be taught and the teacher just doesn't get it, like, I am willing to step in and support and doing some kind of coaching opportunities. I really think as a principal, I'm a coach more than anything. Yes, I'm their evaluator, but as a leader, I'm definitely one that utilizes like coaching and influencing. We use Gallup Strength Finders in our school district, and I'm a woo. So I know how to win others over, and it's
Yeah.
really ability to um, get people to buy into something. And not any facade, not trying to sugarcoat anything, but really getting them to be the cheerleader
Okay.
for everyone, so to speak. The day to day for me as a school leader changes because I am a single administrator. I do not have an assistant principal.
Okay. Do it
So
all.
I do it all. I do it all, but I'm really big on teacher leaders and
Okay.
impacting others and distributing the leadership. So, an average day starts off with me and my girls, like we come to work together. And I try to use that morning of me being able to spend time with them before the building is filled up with their friends and their classmates. And I hate being in my office. I hate it. I love that I have a back door because I sneak out my office all of the time. I'd rather be in the hallways, in the classrooms.
Yeah, I just put that up yesterday. Like, relationships aren't built in the office. You
They're
got to.
not built in the office. I have a desk in the hallway. So I'm usually doing my tour. I greet students in the morning every day. I will stop whatever it is that I'm doing to be at that front door, to be able to give high fives and hugs, play rock, paper, scissors for students. But I think that's a great way for me to kind of see and take the pulse of
Absolutely.
students
You can check the temperature as
right
they
from
come
the front,
in. Yeah,
right from the front. Say good morning to parents. Say congratulations to a few of my parents. They just had newborns.
that's good.
I know a dad. He just got a new job, and so he showed up yesterday. And he had a nice suit on. I said, "You look good, Dad." So like those type of
Yeah.
things, I like to start off my day. And
Even that, like, sorry to interrupt you, but like
no,
even
okay.
that, when that dad is upset in 2 months because of a
Hmm.
situation that arises,
Yep.
he's going to go back to that interaction with you
Oh
that
yeah,
morning, and
absolutely.
it sets the tone on that conversation,
It
right?
does because you have to put if in order for us as leaders to make withdrawals from people, we have to put deposits in them,
Yeah, I like that.
and it's for everybody: teachers, students, parents, community members. And so, like my secretary and I, we start off every day of just kind of checking in what's on the calendar, what's on my schedule, and then things change, things move around. I let the day kind of set the tone, but I'm really big on trying to I create like what are my top priorities for the day, and whatever those three things are that I'm supposed to focus on for the day, I try to circle everything around that. So even when the emergencies, the fires,
Mhm.
the life of a principal kind of
Yeah,
shifts my schedule, as long as I'm focused on whatever those three priorities are. And I try to end the day by celebrating myself, because as leaders, we always feel like the work isn't done. So at
right.
the end of the day, I'm always like, okay, what was like one thing that gave you joy today? Like what was something that was a success for you? Because then that keeps me motivated. Like, okay, you're ready for tomorrow. Like
Right.
there was one win
Yeah.
for today.
And I think that's so important. I know we're going to have a lot of administrators that listen to this, but you have to find the wins,
Mhm.
because if you don't, this job gets really lonely and it gets really rough. It's hard, and it gets really hard if you don't look for those wins every day, because there's a lot of losses that come up
Mm, a lot.
on a daily basis, and it's not your fault, but they're going to happen. No matter how proactive and no matter how great of a leader you are,
Yeah.
it just happens. And so find those wins. That's so important. All right, this next question I just like it because I think it gives some insight of who you are in your journey. But who has influenced you in your life?
Oh, I think the person that has influenced me the most in my life, um, and I think it has had an impact on me personally and professionally, was my babysitter, and then the first person that gave me a job. She was a daycare provider, and she saw my love for children at a very young age, and so she allowed me to start kind of working in the daycare center. At 13, 14 years old, being able to, help with the other children that were there. And it was the way that she built relationships with parents, that she was so out of the box with the different ages of children that she had in the center, and she was the neighborhood staple. Like everybody's children went to her, and they knew Miss Anderson, like they knew who she was, and she lived across the street from me. As well as we grew up. And so, I also saw her in the community, and how not only was she in, like, people knew her in our circle, in our cul-de-sac, but they knew her in the entire community. They knew her in the neighborhood. And I said, like, I want to be like that. Like, I want that type of legacy that, people will drive from wherever,
Mhm.
to come to where I am, because they believe in, like, what my philosophy of leadership and instruction and education is.
Yeah. So shout out to Miss Anderson.
Yes.
But yeah, you and I are so much alike. It's crazy because
Hmm.
I had that same feeling of just, I want to be that person. And I
Yep.
remember, talking to parents and like they were driving 35 minutes because we, had open enrollment and like they're driving 35 minutes one way. I'm like, why? And they're like, I want my kids to come to your
Yep.
school,
Hmm.
and that
Hmm.
was just the greatest compliment that you could ever receive, that they're willing
Absolutely.
to make sacrifices in their
Yes.
own lives for their kids'
Hmm.
education because they want to come to
Hmm.
your school, So um, that's awesome. How about this next one? We've had some interesting answers in the first few episodes, but what has been or is right now like just been a game changer or a hack in your school life?
I got two phones. That is my
You're a big deal when you have
I
two phones.
no. I got two phones, because let me tell you something about being a principal. And I actually think the pandemic and COVID did this, where the lines between work and home got so blurred,
They're
because
just
yeah, well, so for me, I I've started it. This is in my second year now
okay.
that I've done it. And I got a second phone, so that I have a work phone and I have a personal phone. And I won't even put my work email on my personal phone. I have all of my teachers, like everything work related is on that, because what I was finding out is that anytime I got a notification, I got an email, I felt like I had to, like, handle it and take care of it right
Yeah,
then.
right.
And I could be at home, I could be at practice, we could be out to dinner, and so now I have an opportunity to find a little bit of balance of splitting it up, that when work is done and I'm ready to, like, shut it down, that I
Mhm.
truly can shut it down without impeding in my family time.
I love that. And I think more and
So
more administrators need to hear that. Yeah. You are a big deal if you have two
no
phones.
big deal.
Um,
It just reminds me of the song. I got two phones or something.
but that's so important because the lines are blurred as an
Hmm.
administrator. And if you don't turn it off, then it'll
Yeah,
just keep coming.
yeah.
I remember I got an email before I did that. I did that as well, but I got an email on a Saturday morning and it ruined the entire weekend
Yes.
for myself, for my family,
Hmm.
everybody around me. I
Yeah,
was just like, "We're done. Let's start."
yeah.
I couldn't wait to go back to school Monday so I could
Mhm.
fully
To-
address it.
Exactly.
And on that, I didn't want. I should be wishing time away like that,
Yeah.
with my kids and stuff. So,
Hmm.
no, that's great. All right. So we're going to go into what I call the open floor now, and this is your time. So you got the next 10 minutes or so, whatever you want to share about leadership, about leading a school, leading as a mom. You already talked a little bit about that as being, that single mom and leading in that balance. So whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to share, um, go for it.
I think the biggest nugget that I would love to leave with anyone listening is, dare to be different. Like, dare to be different as a leader. Um, don't be afraid to kind of share your story. I remember I spoke at a conference, and after, my friend, she's like, "I can't believe that you shared with everyone that you're a single mom." I said, "But why not? Like, that's what I am right now, right?" And that's that helps somebody else who, like, oh my gosh, like, I can do this. Like, I if somebody else can do it, like, this is somebody I can connect with. And I think that oftentimes, as leaders, aspiring leaders and current leaders, and those ready to tap out, like, we kind of have a fear of how we are seen and perceived to others. And my big encouragement is, like, really dare to be different, dare to color outside of the lines,
Mhm.
embrace your story. Because I will say that I've learned that you know, if you don't tell your story, somebody else will. And whether it be the story of your school, the story of your life, your circumstances, somebody else will. So you be the one. As a leading a school is something that aspiring leaders and current leaders, like, we can't take for granted. Like, we have the opportunity to impact not just like one student or a class of 25 to 30, but like, school communities of 250 to 5,000 for
Yeah.
some schools, right? Like, you have the impact, and it's a domino, because you're impacting the home, then you're impacting the community, and then you're impacting anybody that has ever heard of your school or comes to your school. And so, a leader can change the trajectory of a school,
Yeah. Of a
depending on
community, for sure.
of a community. And you really looking at your your personality and what you're great at. I thrive in whatever what I'm great at, and when I'm not great in something, then I don't try to fake it. I try to find the people that are great at that either can do it or they can help me with it. And so my theme this year, for me, is being comfortable while with being uncomfortable. And I think as school leaders, leading as a mother, like, we are often scared to tell people, like, oh, like, I have to do homework tonight,
Yeah.
or and my staff loves seeing me, like, balance being a mom in here and like being a leader, and they give me so much grace. And I'm always like coming, like, okay, I'm coming to you as a mom right now. Like, I missed the spelling test yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
can like, what do I need to do? Or she was struggling with this, like, how can I help her?
Yeah.
Because I think oftentimes we as a leader, and specifically leading as a parent, not just a mom, just as a parent, I had to ask myself a couple of years ago, like, who is getting the best of me?
Mm.
I realized that the students were getting the best of me, and
Yeah.
my children were getting what was left of me. So I
Yeah.
had to kind of change and shift some things in, how and where we did homework, and, switching from, Dr. Daniel to now mommy. And even though, we're sharing the space together and we're in school together. So, as you are aspiring to be a school leader, or just in leadership period, or even, you're kind of at a crossroad in your leadership right now, I would urge you all to just dare to be different, color outside of the lines. Because the thing is, as a school leader, you know what's best for your community, you know what's best for your staff, you know what's best for your students and your environment. And so if you can justify it, if you can provide the data to back it up, then color outside of the lines, like, dare to be different, and embrace the brag on your school,
Yeah.
brag on the things that
You just
you
brag on your school for a minute. You just put it up this morning.
I,
Share the good news out of the fort.
share. You have
Yeah.
to brag, right? Because
Right.
how are people going to know all the great things?
Yep.
Because we know that the news is going to share the not so great.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we have to be the ones to kind of
They're
share
going to
the
share
great.
that you dropped, 0.75% on your state assessments from a year ago, and and that's going to be the headline. But
Yes,
what they don't
yes,
see are the relationships and lives that are transformed in your
absolutely,
building on a daily basis, and that's what you have
absolutely.
the opportunity to share, which is great. So that's powerful. Thank you for that. I think a lot of people needed to hear that, and I am passionate about being different, and what you shared. Like, don't be afraid to be different, because that's when change happens. And I just
Mhm.
think right now our education system is kind of broken and is
Yep.
really stagnant. And in a lot of schools across our country, we have systems in place because they've been in place for 20 years, and that's what's
Hmm.
supposed to happen in this community or this school. They're not working.
Yep.
We're trying to teach our kids on landline phones when they've got smartphones in their pockets, right? And it's not working. And so it's time for change. And it takes leaders like you to step up and say, you know what, we're going to do it a little different. And
Yeah.
this is it. And then you can say in 3 years, like you did this morning, it's working.
It's
So we're going to keep doing it. So that's awesome. Um, Last couple questions as we wrap up. Advice to students. What advice? You're an elementary principal. What advice can you give to your students at an elementary level?
Be brave. Be
Yeah.
brave. I think that the new generation of students that are coming up. There is a lot of sense of fear with everything, and just
Mhm.
be brave. Be brave to stand up for yourself. Be brave to stand up for your friends. Be brave to ask questions when you don't understand something in class. Be brave to challenge respectfully. An answer or a protocol or procedure, because in that bravery, builds character. And
Yeah,
so I think, if anything, be brave.
that's great. And you've given a ton of advice for administrators and future leaders, but what's one more piece of advice that you would give to anybody in education right now?
Um, just remember your why. I know it's so cliche. We talk
Yeah,
about it all the time, but like, remember your why, because when you remember your why, when things get difficult, when you get, a not so nice email, you get there's a data conversation and your students are not performing where your administration or your executive leadership believes that you should be. um, just remember your why, like why you started, why you wanted to do this work, because the why is what's going to drive your passion. It's what's going to drive the work, and it's going to help you on those difficult and challenging days.
no, that's good. And I don't know how we do this. I mean, other than just continuing to remind educators, but like they go to a conference, they hear from somebody like you and I, and we talk
Hmm.
about that. Like, remember your why. Let's think a minute, write down your why. And we
Yep.
feel good in that moment, in that, our keynote or whatever it
Hmm.
is. And then we go back to school 2 days later and, it hits the fan and the fire erupts
Then we're like, why are we here?
and we forget our why.
We
Like,
forget the why.
we can't just remember our why every 6 months at a conference.
Mm-mm.
We got to remember that
Nope.
why on a daily basis. So whether
Hmm.
it's putting it up in your office or writing it on your desk or whatever, like it's so important to remember that on a daily basis, just like
Yep.
celebrating your wins, at the end of the day. So, hey, I knew we'd go over a little bit because you and
I,
we can talk.
we talk.
That's for sure. But and you're awesome. I really am thankful to be able to call you a friend. I remember I'm going to tell you a quick story, and listeners can hear it. I remember like looking at you like, man, she's got it together. Like she is a great principal. And then now I can call you a friend, and it's really humbling. So
Yes,
thankful
I'm
for that.
definitely just grateful for your friendship, and then just all that you pour into all leaders like across the world, and being able to, show the connection. And I love, the personal piece that in your new role that you're able to give to leaders, to teachers. So keep doing some great things.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Our educators need it, and that's it. That's the
Absolutely.
why we talk about impact, and that's what it is. It's an impact on education now. So not just students in a classroom in a school. So hey, get to your babies. Have a great night. Thank you
Thank
again. We
you.
appreciate it. Thank you to School Life as always for sponsoring this, and to all of our educators listening. Go out and be great today.